This is 7th period, right there. Holding that up, so when I start the recording, I know which class it is. 7th period. No, your face is not on it. All right. Today is a different thing than the previous 3. The other 3 were stories. Today is not a story at all. Today is, like it says over there, it's a Brovitalk, which affects things in a couple different ways. One, I'm probably going to be a bit more stumbly in my speaking, whereas I come across typically on the days where I'm teaching a bit smoother with what I'm getting across to you because I've practiced it. I know what I want to do. Today's different because I have about 2 hours worth of stuff that I would like to tell you, and I've got a half hour to get into it. So I don't get a chance to tell you everything I want. So I have to sort of pick and choose bits and pieces of it. And so as I go through and do the picking and choosing, my brain's going to be sort of popcorning all around trying to figure out what I want to try and get in. 2, I change it for each class because each class is different. The personality and the issues that you guys have are different than my 5th period, which is different than my 3rd period. And so I tailor what I say today to this class and to the people who are in here. And part of what I say will change depending on how you guys react to it, because I will learn what is important to you and what is not as we go through. For those of you who keep talking about this whole emotions thing, on that one, realize you may come through this day completely bored. I had kids fall asleep earlier today, which is fine. The idea being, this information is going to hit kids in different ways. For some of you, yeah, it might hit home and there might be emotions involved. For others of you, it's not going to impact you at all. And you're going to stare at the wall the whole time and think Fortnite thoughts and stuff like that, which is also fine. My only request to you is, don't interrupt me as I go through it. If you do, I apologize now. I'll probably be a bit snippy with you. Nothing against you. It's just been a long day and my brain is fried from the conversation, so I tend to get a little snippy when that happens. If I do the talk today and it has no impact on you whatsoever, that's nothing against you. If this completely goes over your head and we have no connection, don't worry about it. For some of you, it might not impact you for years. For others of you, it might never impact you. For others of you, the conversation I'm going to have with you is going to hit hard today. And for those of the kids you've seen who have emotions. And part of it is, I have no idea which of you it's going to hit and which of you it's not. In the past, I used to think I would have some idea. Like I would have an inkling of which kids it would be. But I've learned I'm not always right. I've learned how little I know. All right. So, to get into all of this, I'm trying to get my brain into the right spot to figure out how I want to start it. Kids coming back and talking to me. My job would be a lot easier if I didn't like you. But the problem is, you guys have made me like you this year. And I've really enjoyed this class, which is one of the reasons why I recorded this class as often as I did. Don't get me wrong, some of y'all have issues. But having issues doesn't stop me from liking you. And you've caused me to like you. And the drawback to making me like you is that means I care about you, which normally would not be an issue. And when I was a younger teacher, it wasn't an issue because I cared about kids, and then the year ended, and I went on my merry way and never thought about it again. And then kids started coming back to talk to me. And when kids came back to talk to me in 8th grade and came back to talk to me in high school, I realized my caring for you does not stop at 2:45 at the last day of school. My caring for you continues on into the next year. It continues on into high school. And part of that caring about you is, kids come back and talk to me about things, and they share things I never would have suspected kids would share with the teacher. And kids open up to me in ways that I never expected. Things they don't teach you in teacher college. And so I have conversations with kids that are fabulous conversations and allow me to find out all kinds of things about you and who you are. But I also find out a lot of the dark, deep stuff that happens too. And I used to think that when you're a kid, life was easy and life was good. But as kids came back and talked to me, I realized how often that's not true. And how often life is not easy and life is not good. And so kids would come back to talk to me in 8th grade, and they'd come back to talk to me in high school. And oftentimes our conversations would turn to the bad choices people have made, the poor choices that are out there. Long before I told stories at the end of the year, I would start finding out about when kids started making those bad choices, whether it be drinking or drugs or dropping out of school or teen pregnancy or any of those things that I never thought kids would talk to me about that did. And so oftentimes I would ask the kids who came back to talk to me, when did it start you? When did you first become aware that those poor choices were around you, or the fact that this was available to you? And more often than not, I came to realize that 7th grade is your last year of innocence. And I don't mean that in a bad way. What I mean by your last year of innocence is that for many of you, you have a circle of awareness of how the world works around you. And you're aware that there's drugs and alcohol out there. And that there's probably kids in the world who drink. And that there's kids in the world who smoke pot. But many of you are not aware that there are 7th graders who drink. And 7th graders who smoke pot. Now, there are some of you who are aware. And your circle has shrunk to the point where you're already aware those people are out there. But for many of you, you're not. And if I had to make you name a kid that you knew smoked pot or drank, you couldn't. But that is coming because of my conversations I've had with my past students. They tell me it happens the summer between 7th and 8th grade. For most kids, that is when that circle of awareness happens, where you're going to be a place where you are going to have the opportunity to make that choice, the opportunity to drink, the opportunity to smoke pot, the opportunity to do those things that you should not be doing. It begins this summer. Not for all of you. Some of you will get through the summer and be fine. It was just, for many kids, it starts this summer. For some of you, it's already started. And I know that. And I'm aware that it's already started for you. For others of you, it's not going to be until 8th grade. But I will tell you this. By the time you leave 8th grade here, you will know a kid who smokes pot. You will know a kid who drinks. And it's not going to be, hey, I think. It's going to be a, yes, I know. Because your world will shrink enough that you are going to be aware that it's happening. When you get to high school and you go from freshman to senior year, that world shrinks even more. And it's going to be one of your friends. It is going to be one of those people that you hang out with either in junior high, or it's going to be a new friend you make, but it's going to happen to you. Because these are the conversations I have with my past kids. And I ask them, can you get through high school? And every single one of them eventually says no. It eventually happens to you. At some point, one of your friends goes down that path. And you're going to have to make that choice. Do you follow them down that path? Or do you cut that friend off? And it's not an easy choice to make. And for your parents, it's not easy for them to realize this is going to happen to you. In the perfect world, your parents should have a conversation with you about the fact that this is going to happen and the fact that these are choices that are going to be presented to you. But the problem is, most of your parents still see you as little kids because that's how they view you. And it's even worse if you're the oldest or if you're the only child because you're the first one coming through and they're not ready to let go. And it's hard for a parent to realize that their little kid is about to be an adult. And for many of you, that's what's getting ready to happen. Whether you want to be in the adult world or not, it's coming. And you're going to have to start making big kid choices. And you're going to have to start making those decisions that are going to be scary. So because of that, I've realized if I care about you and I care about your future, then I have to do something about it. Today is me doing something about it. If I want to be able to impact you in some way, this is my day to do it. Because after today, I'm not going to see most of you. Because for many of you, your 8th grade year, you're not going to come by my room. You're not going to have a class on this side of the hall. You're not going to have my lunch. And we're just never going to interact. And after tomorrow, that's it. We don't see each other. For others of you, you'll see me next year. But then in high school, you're in a different building. We don't interact, and things go on. But that doesn't mean I stop caring about you just because I don't see you. So I want to help push you in the right direction. I've been teaching long enough now that when I look at you, I see past students that I can compare you to. That I say, I look at you and you remind me of this kid, or you remind me of this other kid. And part of that issue is, oftentimes I see two different kids you remind me of. A kid that made good choices and a kid that made bad choices. And I don't want you to go down the path of bad choices. Because I don't want you to be unhappy. Because that's what comes when you care about someone. You don't want them to experience unhappiness. I don't want you to be the kid that in high school is dropping out at age 16. Because I've had that happen to my kids who come back and talk to me. I don't want you to be the kid that comes back and tells me the story about you being arrested and how life is over. Or the girl who contacted me last night because she's 17 and pregnant. I don't want that for you. I want better for you. So I want to find a way to push you in that direction. For each one of you, I see two paths. I see a path of goodness and a path of darkness. A light path and a dark path. And I want you to understand how you can choose your paths. And part of it is, for some of you, it's easy. Your light path, your good path, is really wide. And your dark path is really narrow. And for you, there's not much worry of you losing sight of that good path. And so for you, this might not have as much impact because your bright path is wide and there's not much problems of you finding it. But others of you, your paths are the same width and you could go either direction. You could go down the path of goodness or you could go down that other path. For you, my job is a bit more important because I need you to help understand that you can choose your path and you get to pick which one you want to go down. And there's a handful of you who have a really wide, dark path and a really skinny, good path. For some of you, your good path is so thin, you don't think it exists, and you only see a dark path in front of you. For you, my job is even more important, for I need you to see yourself the way I see you, because I see a good path in front of every single one of you. And I need you to want to follow that same good path. There are bad kids in the world. And bad kids grow up to be bad adults. Bad adults become bad parents. And I have students who have bad parents. Which is unfortunate because it makes life tough. Now some of you don't have bad homes. You have great homes. You have a home with two parents who are there with you every night, and they make dinner, and you guys sit around a dinner table, and they make you do your homework, and when you don't do your homework, they ground you, and you have conversations with them. They tell you they love you, and that's what a 13-year-old's life is supposed to be like. You're supposed to fight with your parents when they tell you to clean your room, and then you say no, and it goes back and forth. That's how 13-year-olds' lives are supposed to be. But you have to realize there are some kids in your classes who don't have that. I have kids in my classes who don't have two parents at home. They have one parent at home. Or They have two parents at home, but their parents have issues because they ignore them, or they never once say, I love you, or they never once say that you can do a good thing, or they never once have dinner around the same dinner table. Or worse, I have kids who have parents who are neglectful and ignore them, or who are abusive and beat them. I have kids who have parents who mentally abuse them and say horrible things about them. And every day, all they do is have parents who make them feel like they are a waste of life and a waste of space and trash. Imagine for a moment that kid. That's all that kid knows. Pain, heartache, and evil. And they have to come to school. And when they come to school, they're not going to be happy. And school is not important to them because of what they're going through at home. I have kids who don't look forward to summertime because summer means they have to be with people that they hate because those people are in their house. And those people and those kids are unhappy. When you're 13 and you have that much unhappiness in your life and you have that much pain in your life, it has to come out in some way. For many kids, that's why they turn to bullying. And that's why they're mean to other people. Because they're unhappy and they're angry. And they see you and they see the fact that you're happy. And they see the fact that you're smiling. And they see the fact that you have the things that they don't have. And there's a level of jealousy that they can't put into words because they're 13. And they shouldn't have to put it into words. So it comes out as anger. And it comes out as being mean to you. And it comes out as awfulness. What I want to ask of you is to be nice to those people. Is to understand where other people come from. One of the toughest things you're ever going to do is be nice to a person who doesn't deserve it. When you have that bully who is awful and makes you feel like trash, do you face their hatred with more hatred? Or do you face their hatred with love? It's not an easy thing to do. The easy choice is to be mean back to them because they deserve it. It's not easy to be nice to a kid that's mean to you. I didn't say it was easy. But if you want to change the world, if you want to make the world a better place, that's how it starts. With you being nice to a person that doesn't deserve it. And don't get me wrong, they're not going to suddenly change and hug you and say thank you. Quite the opposite. They're going to be even more awful to you and more evil to you because you're going to make them feel guilty and make them feel awful for what they're going through. Do you respond to that with more hatred, or do you stay being nice? And it's a choice you have to make. My whole class is built on choice, and you get to choose in my class. Whatever it is that happens to you, it is a choice, because I want you to take control of your life. And taking control of your life begins with you making choices. Even the small ones of choosing to bring a writing utensil to class. It's a small choice, but it's a choice. And so, being nice to a person who doesn't deserve it is a choice that you can make. With me in front of the classroom, you'll see me be happy, outgoing, friendly. It's a choice that I make. I try to make a room where kids will feel accepted, where you get a chance to be yourself and you get to explore who you want to be. And many of you guys have explored a number of different personalities in my room this year. Whether it is loud, whether it is quiet, whether it's been good, bad. Some of you guys have not done homework. Some of you guys have been outstanding for me. That's part of what 7th grade is figuring out who you want to be as the year goes along. At some point, figure out who you want to be and make that choice and stick with it. My decision to be outgoing is a choice I make. The confidence you see when I embarrass myself at Camp Tecumseh or at dances or in front of you guys doing things is a choice I make. It's a confidence I choose. Because my natural version of myself is the shy, quiet kid in the back of the room. That's who I am. I am the shy, quiet kid that doesn't want to talk. But I've also realized when I was in high school that if you're the shy, quiet kid that sits in the back of the room, life passes you by, and you don't always get everything you want. So I made a decision to not be that person and to change who I was. And so I decided to be confident. And it's weird to think it's a choice you make. And it came from me watching other kids. Because I watched kids who I saw be confident, who were friendly and outgoing. And I wanted to be like them. So I watched them. And I realized every person you see who is confident, every person you see who seems to think like they have everything together, who is popular and knows what's going on, it's an act. They're choosing to pretend that. If you pretend that you're confident enough, eventually you're confident. If you put on the face of someone who doesn't care what others think about you, eventually it'll stick. So that's what I did. And I chose a path of being confident. And it wasn't easy. And it started with a thing my mom said. And it wasn't even a thing she meant to say as much as just a comment that she made. And it came from me being bullied my freshman year of high school. I had bad acne. And I remember my freshman year I was in PE, and I had a kid named Chad who was making fun of me. And Chad was calling me a pizza face. And he was trying to get a bunch of girls to laugh. They were popular girls in my class at the time. And they were. And there was laughing and there was pointing. It was one of those really bad days where you just sort of hate on life. And I went home that day, and I was upset. And my mom was talking to me. And she's like, what's bothering you? And I explained to my mom about the fact of Chad calling me names and these other girls who were laughing at me and how it made me feel bad. And the thing my mom said that stuck with me years later, she goes, oh, Chad's a friend of yours? I went, no, I hate Chad. He's a jerk. She goes, oh, well, those girls are friends of yours. I said, no, I don't even know them. They're just two popular girls in the class. She goes, oh, then why do you care? I went, what? She went, why do you care if he's making fun of you? And why do you care if they laugh at you? Why is that important to you? And I was like, I don't know, because they're kids at school. And at the time, I ignored it because she was my parent, and parents are dumb. And you always ignore parents when they talk. But it stuck in the back of my mind until years later when it hit me. How wise that was. Why was I letting people I don't care about control my life? Why was I letting this kid, who I didn't even like, control my opinion of myself? Why was I letting these two girls, who I didn't know, impact how I thought about myself? And I realized it was my fear of other people that was letting myself not be who I wanted to be. So here's my question to you. Is there a version of you that you want to be? As you've gone through 7th grade, as you go into 8th grade, and you start figuring out who you are, is there a version of you that you want to be? If there is, why are you not that person? What is stopping you from being that person? Do you want to be outgoing? Do you want to be confident? Do you want to be that kid that others look up to? Then why aren't you? What stops you from doing it? Some kid making fun of you? Why do you care about that kid making fun of you? Is it your friends making fun of you? If it is, you might want to reconsider your friends. If it's not your friends, then it shouldn't matter. Because there's always going to be angry people in the world. There's always going to be someone who's going to hate on you and try to make you feel bad about yourself. It does not matter who you are, how beautiful you are, how rich you are, how happy you are. Someone's going to be unhappy, and someone's going to try and make you unhappy by putting you down. It's up to you whether you respond to it. Do you give that person power over who you are? The biggest gift you could possibly give me after today is being the person that you want to be. and coming back and telling me someday that that's who you are, and that you didn't let other people change you, and you didn't let other people shape you. And I understand some of you don't know who you want to be yet. That's fine. That's 7th grade. That's junior high, is figuring out who you want to be. But when you get there and you start figuring out in your heart who it is you want to be that person. On the home life thing real quick. Some of you have a tough home life. More so than you let on and let other people see. If that is you, and you have that home life, realize you control how you react to it. You can't control your parents. You can't control the world around you. You can't control the bad things, and you can't control that stuff. You control how you react to it. You control your attitude about it. Don't let parents make you into something you're not. Don't let adults shape you into something you're not. All we are big versions of you who are trying to push you into what we want you to be. Even me right now, I'm just a big version of you trying to push you into what I want you to be. I believe I have your best interests in my heart, but I don't think every adult does. And there's every chance there will be adults who try to force you to do things that you don't want to be, or force you into a mold that you're not. And don't let that happen. As you go through this, school, through life, you deserve happiness. Regardless of how old you are. Whether you are 7th grade, whether you're high school, whether you're an adult, you deserve happiness. You deserve to do a thing that makes you happy. Never let a person rob you of that. Never let others stop you from achieving that. Being happy changes everything. It impacts everything you do when you come from a place of happiness. And there are too many people in this world who are not happy and who are angry and who are bitter. And I don't want them to be the ones who shape you. Over the course of this year, I have served different roles for different kids. For some of you, I was just an English teacher. For others of you, I was a class where you got to smile and you got to enjoy school. For others of you, I was a person that you got a chance to come and talk to. And I was that person that you got a chance to bond with. For others of you, my job was to let you see the fact that there's goodness in you and the fact that you can be a better person than you thought you could be. For others of you, you need someone to listen to you. And I offer myself to you that I will listen to you. When I talk about my 8th graders and when I talk about my high school kids, it's not just the good kids who come talk to me. It's not just those kids who I had that connection with in 7th grade. I open that up to all of you because I don't know which ones of you are going to need to talk. Because for some of you, there's things going on at home and you can't talk to parents. Or there's things going on with friends and you can't talk to them. And you need someone to be on your side. And you need someone to support you. For you, I offer that. I will be on your side. Even when you screw up. Even when you've done that thing that you think ends your life. I will be here. And I will listen. And I will support you. I may be disappointed in you. But only because I see goodness in you. And I want to help guide you in the right direction. If you ever feel the need to contact me, please do. Whether it's in person after school, whether it's sending me a message through Instagram or through email, I respond to every single message I've ever gotten from any kid. It may take time, because as I offer myself up, more and more of my free time gets eaten up, but I will always respond to you. and I will always listen to you, and I will always be there and happy to help you. On a happier note, thank you for this year. I really enjoyed this year teaching, and ending the day with you guys was a treat for me. As a teacher, we are dependent on you guys for our happiness sometimes, and you guys made my happiness easier, and I appreciate it. Thank you. Enjoy your day. See? We're good to go.
Bye, Mr. Brovitalk.
Bye, Christine.